You know, something LB, please sit down because if you're live now, you've got to be careful. If you're already live, that means people can see us.
Sorry, I can't. Oh yes, we can put this video. For example, you won't see me now.
Okay, just be careful because
So
that means people can hear us. What I mean is that
yes,
people can hear us. Yeah. So
so,
please do me a favor. People, I'm getting
yes, sir.
messages. People are unable to get the link. We must fix this. People say just the link, the link, the link, and I don't know what it is. I'm sending it again. But more importantly, at 6 o'clock, whatever happens, we start.
Okay, sir. I'm already admitting people in.
Okay, good.
So
yeah,
it means
admit them.
Yeah, people are already joining in. So what I wanted to ask is the fact that I can also share a screen which just shows, if for example I share a screen, the screen could be this. Can you see it?
Yeah, that's fine. LB, please, we don't talk anymore. People are here.
All right, sir.
No conversation anymore. People are in. And why don't you just let us, only the panelists, why don't you just let the panelists, we don't want to see everybody else.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the World of Transformation Champions. We are here today to be able to get a notable speaker to talk to us about how to transform our lives. I will leave the introduction to another notable person who will work around that. My job at this stage is to share with you the value of transforming life and what is the whole essence of the Transformation Champions series. We recognize that virtually every single human being had a clear-cut purpose. We do have some reasons why we pursue a particular purpose in our lives or why we want a change in our life in order to address some basic things. And we feel that it's very appropriate considering the circumstances we find ourselves today in the area of COVID pandemic to actually share a number of series of talk, bringing in very notable personality who could talk to us about how we can transform our life or transform our culture or transform our HR, transform our operations, transform all the basic operations of our organization. But we feel that transformation itself has to start from individual. And the most important individual in an organization is yourself, the gentleman or the gentle lady you see in the mirror. Once you look at the mirror, that is the person standing between you and transformation. And today, before we bring in the real speaker for today, it would be nice for us to understand some fundamentals. And that is the fact that transformation itself is most appropriate when changes are taking place in the environment. And because the only constant in the world is change itself, we have identified the need for us to to address transformation from the rudimentary and then build upon this step by step, day by day, until we can see transformation 360 degrees around us. For this singular reason, I would spend the first few minutes just sharing these fundamentals with you. It's my wish that when the real speaker comes in, he will do real justice to some of these things. So I would like to share some things with you on the screen, and then I will be back with you in the next few minutes. Let me just share some of the information with you on the screen. As you may have seen from the screen, transformation is of multiple parts. We have the fundamentals, we have the vision, we have the action, the culture, and the discipline. Today, we'll be talking around the fundamentals only of how to transform your life. And these fundamentals reveal beyond reasonable doubt that crisis itself is composed of two characters. It's made up of danger, and it comes along with it opportunity. So basically, lead to beautiful destination. So we recognize that individuals have gone through some difficult roads in the last few weeks or few months of COVID pandemic, and we identified the need for us to truly help in transforming. But in every pandemic, in any crisis, in any situation, there's always opportunity. And once there's hope. So crisis comes with opportunity, and what we need is to have the right perspective, if nothing else, to actually gain wisdom and learn something from whatever we've done before. At this stage, it will be important for me to clearly define transformation is a marked change in form or nature or appearance. And it may be similar to a number of different words as synonyms, which you must have seen on the screen. So the concept of transformation from the organizational concept is to actually create a process of profound and radical change that will orient the organization in a new direction and take it to an entirely different level. So it's a journey, not a final destination. So you can't get everything that you need from just one session. This is just to be able to whet your appetite. It's not a future event, it's a present day activity. That means transformation must begin with you right away. I want you to please do everything you can to concentrate. It will take place immediately. The revolution is from today, now, not tomorrow. It's not about perfection, it's about having an effort. And there's a need for us to bring that effort forward every single day. And so it's an habit. That's where transformation, that's how transformation actually takes place. And that's the way change truly occurs. And we must be able to therefore transform some of the feelings we have into reality. So what's the difference between change and transformation? Change uses external influence to modify actions, but transformation modifies and it modifies our belief system. So actions can become natural and thereby achieve the desired result. Ladies and gentlemen, change is inevitable, but definitely transformation is by conscious effort. On that note, I would like to welcome you to the world of personal transformation. It's a task of changing who you are and becoming the person you want to be. And the whole objective is to ensure that the whole objective is to ensure that so many things are distractive to us. We want to do the things we need to do in our lives. And the best way is to ensure that we are motivated to change those things in our life in spite of anything that may be holding us back. So we need to start to allow the magic of the universe to inspire us towards changes that are aligned with our true authentic nature. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not want to bore you about transformation. I would like to hand you over to the person who is bigger than me and who will be in a position to actually introduce the main speaker for today. And I want you to open your minds to first of all start with unlearning the things you used to do that are not in line with your purpose in life, and then start to learn new things. And the teacher, my mentor is around, so, but I'm not fit enough to be the one to introduce him. May I call on my colleague, Kayode Olusope, to do the introduction. Thank you. Kayode.
I welcome you to the maiden edition of Transformation Champions series. It's put together by Host Consulting, Business School Netherlands, and a host of our corporate partners, to whom we are very grateful. Please adjust your seatbelts because our transformation plane is about to take off with our first speaker. May I advise you to please get some notes, some notepad, some pens, because there'll be a lot to take away from here. If you have any question or comments, please leave it for us in the chat aspect of Zoom, and we will treat those questions later in the course of this program. Today, I have the honor of introducing an eminent authority on the subject of personal transformation. Our first speaker this evening is Richie Dayo Johnson, RDJ, as he is fondly called. RDJ is the experiential specialist in effective communication and interactional human behavior. He is the one that confused and disgruntled millennials rush to. He is the one that aspiring business leaders are looking for. He is the one that high net worth individuals and organizations across different continents are seeking to come and give them solutions when they need to recalibrate their minds for transformational growth. Please permit me to introduce to you a honored alumnus of the prestigious University of Teesside in Middlesbrough, England. Permit me to introduce a fellow of the Royal Society of Arts, a cognitive behavioral coach and an experienced practitioner of NLP in Europe and Africa. Permit me to introduce a corporate guru who sits on various boards in advisory capacity and currently oscillates between the two continents depending on work and family commitments. Permit me to introduce to you a man of style who is passionate about what he believes and does. A man with unique ability to make it real for every individual. A man who has come tonight with a singular message that yes, it is possible. And that's what you are going to get within a few minutes of interaction with him at any time. This evening, he is here to tell you that it's not what you don't have that is holding you back. It is what you have that you don't know how to use that is holding you back. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Richie Dayo Johnson. Thank you. Over to you, RDJ.
Thank you very much, Kayode Olusope, for those very kind words of welcome and introduction. It's a real pleasure to be part of this maiden edition of this phenomenal program, which is bound to help us move from where we used to be to where we ought to be. I have had incredible business success. I've also experienced total business failure. But there's one thing that is clear, that I am a living example that going belly up in business does not mean you should go face down in life. This is very important, especially on this topic of personal evolution. Several years ago, due to carelessness, or dare I say, judgments, I was made financially bankrupt. Financial bankruptcy means that you lose most, if not all, of your assets and have very little in your bank balance. And what it means in reality is that it's time to start all over again. That for me was a very poignant moment in my life. It became apparent that when you're faced with adversity, you don't have obstacles anymore. You have choice. And you are welcome to a new dawn of endless possibilities, depending on the way you look at it. And mindset. And minds are common, but the ones that see are very rare. So as you're looking, you're probably looking at the difficulty, you're thinking of the property you've lost, the car, personal belongings and assets that have been carted away. You are looking at a very bleak future. But you know, at that point in time, the words of George people who get on never blame the circumstances. They look at the circumstance that they want, and if they can't find it, they create it. But it doesn't just happen in there is a progress, there is a process of shock, process, what in Campbell quote of the when all you're thinking of are the negative things. But you see,
it appears we've lost our colleague. When he is back, I'll be able to, he'll be able to continue. Okay, I'm sure Richie is back. We lost him briefly. Are you back? Okay. All right. Let me take off from where he has stopped. It appears it looks as if he's having some technical issues. As soon as he's back, I would let you know. But in the meantime, I would continue with
well, you did not lose me, you lost the connection. I'm still standing. Yes.
Well, once again, we apologize for the technical itches. We all know how the networks can be and how they can disappoint one in such times like this. I would seek your patience while we ask Professor Olerebale to assist us to continue.
Okay. Thank you, Coyote. I will just continue where I stopped. I hope you can capture my voice now. So I suspect he may be having some difficulty on his own system. I did mention to you that the concept of transformation is more often about unlearning than learning. Than learning. So it is important for us to continue from there. For example, there are 6 crucial steps to personal transformation. So, e.g., we need to focus on the outcome. To get what you want, you must first of all know exactly what the final outcome will look like. Then eventually, you have to learn how to take some baby steps, learn how to learn from other people like we are trying to learn from Maru DJ. Your outcome, that you are clear about this outcome and you become that very outcome that you would like to be. You must be willing to be uncomfortable because you're moving from one step to the other. You're moving from where you are present to where you want to be. You have to pass through a path, and that path is usually painful. So you must be prepared to be uncomfortable in order to move to the outcome. You have to be your own cheerleader at times because other people will not. If you really want transformation in your life, you've got to change your words. The words you speak to yourself, particularly the words you speak to yourself. You have to also change your mindset. Once you change your words, you change your mindset, the journey towards transforming your life has begun. So based on this, it's important for us to know what is the nature of mindsets. Mindsets are habits of the mind. The names you call yourself, the name other people call you, is usually created by past experiences. You can also have blind spots as a result of your past experiences. If you have very bitter experience in the past, you could assume that every single relationship you are into will end up in bitterness. And so you never give other people any chance. If you have been supervised by a wicked boss before, you will assume that every boss you are working with will be wicked. If you have also been supervised by very humane bosses, and you start to work with other bosses after that, you assume that the new bosses will also be humane, and that could be a mistake. So at times, mindset could create self-deception. It has a way of shaping our lives, and indeed shaping our lives and our world. It's capable. It can be developed. It can be transcended. For this reason, we feel it's important for us to listen to experts on transformation of life that to be able to share with us and make our mindset to become much more agile so that our cognitive ability is improved, our personal and professional agility is enhanced, our ability to keep on moving forward, maintaining the concept of change for every moment, because that's the only constant, will be there. We'll also be able to keep on maintaining our social relationship as we use our emotional intelligence in relating to other people. So an agile mindset, we actually increase our analytical and divergent thinking. It will improve our communication and career networking. If we increase our innovation, creativity, and collaboration, it will improve our reflection and adaptation, which is usually taught in action learning. And so it will also, when we start to change our belief system on the inside, we will transform our results on our outside world. So what is the issue of belief system? Our values affect our beliefs. Our beliefs, our values are informed by our beliefs, and our values affect our thinking, our mindset. Our thinking affects our emotions, and these emotions influences significantly the things that are seen on the outside, which is our behavior and indeed the result we get on the work, on the job. For this singular reason, it's important for us to know that our values and belief system affects our attitude, it affects our motivation, it affects our knowledge, it affects our skill, and indeed it affects our behavior. Yes, so it affects our behavioral change. I think Mr. RDJ is ready. Once it's ready, okay. Once it's ready, he will let us know and we will bring him in. So the power of values and belief cannot be overemphasized, since it affects our attitude, our motivation, our knowledge, our skills, and behavioral change. So if we really need to change the outcome in our places of work, we've got to change our values and belief system. We need to change our attitude. We need to transform our motivation, our knowledge, our skills, which will very for behavioral change. Behavioral change will affect effectiveness, doing the right thing, efficiency, the processes, and affect flexibility, adaptability. And in a period of pandemic like this, if we really need to adapt to the changes imposed on us by the pandemic, we have to go back to our values and belief system, to our attitude, to our internal motivations. And it is upon this that knowledge will be built and skills and behavioral change can actually take place. We can only appreciate the power of transformation when we look at the likes of butterfly, which comes up like caterpillar and just looks like worm. But over a period of weeks, it starts to develop itself on the inside. Nobody sees it on the outside. But after about 3 weeks, it starts to come out. And what comes out of it is a very beautiful fly. So there comes a time when we too, like butterfly, needs to emerge. We need to transform and change from what we used to be. We need to engage every aspect of our energy. Our physical energy, our emotional energy helps us to get connected with other people. And we spend 2/3 of our life at work and only about 1/3 in our homes. Within the 2/3 is the time we spend in the traffic and doing some other things. Only about 1/3 of our life are spent within the house and for religious activities. Otherwise, most of the time, because the moment we set out from the house, we are focused on our job. So it's important for us to know this. So we are also mentally, when our mental energy is solid, we also become more focused. And when our spiritual energy is solid, we become more aligned. Let me close this session by mentioning that because RDJ is ready for us, let me just close the section on energy by stating that the physical energy gives us quantity. We therefore need to listen to and care for our body. The emotional energy is what gives us quality. We need to embrace all emotions and foster positive ones. We need to remember as well that we need to remember as well that our mental energy helps us with focus, and that our spiritual energy is where we find the bigger purpose and align with the deep values of our lives. For this singular reason, we advise that everybody should mute his microphone. So for this reason, it's everything that we do in terms of performance and our places of work are influenced significantly by these 4 major energies: the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. So when I come back, I will be able to talk to you about the value of culture, of transformation, that will enable us to stay true to our values and how it affects productivity in our places of work. May I hand over at this stage to the speaker for today, Mr. Richie Dayo Johnson.
Thank you very much, LV. Thank you very much for holding forth whilst I was pushed off. But I never fell. I was able to regain my steps, and here I am again. Yes, for those joining us and for those who missed the beginning, perhaps might be a good idea for me to have a quick recap. I'll share the story that several years ago, having made humongous financial success, I became financially bankrupt due to carelessness, due to bad judgment, call it whatever it is. But what I noticed was that when you go face down in, when you go belly up in business, it doesn't mean you should go face down in life. At that point, it was the lowest point of my life where everything was crumbling. Just like Joseph Campbell put it, the long, dark night of the soul. The moment of despair, the moment of feeling desolate, feeling despondent, feeling powerless, where everything that you could ever imagine would go wrong. But George Bernard Shaw perhaps knew better at that time when he said, people who get on in life never blame their circumstances. They look for the circumstance that they want, and if they can't find it, they create it. Just like LB was referring to the life of a caterpillar, it has to give up its legs in order to be able to fly. And when it actually thought that its life was over, so during those long, dark nights of despair, that is when you grow. It is when it is dark outside that you can see the stars. It is better to light a candle than to curse darkness. But it is easier said because we are in a very perilous situation at the moment, going through a very difficult moment. Many of us have received the letters from work asking us politely not to come back. Many of us have received letters from work, from employers, telling us very politely that the salary we received in April will probably be the last one. Some have already offered some level of salary reduction. And you begin to look at it and say, is this the end? Let me try and say something to you at this moment. That it is not, there is endless hope. I'll tell you why. Henry David Thoreau said, when a man advances confidently in a direction he has either imagined or dreamt of, that he would meet with success unexpected in uncommon hours. During those dark nights for me were the moments I wrote out the best seminars that I delivered today. I began to look at the things that I had as opposed to the things I didn't have. It is not what you don't have that holds you back. It is actually the things that you have, but you don't know how to use. We don't know how to use it, and out of arrogance, which in itself is a camouflage for insecurity, you don't ask for help. But asking for help doesn't mean you're weak. It means you want to remain strong. I discovered at that time that things had to change. A wife, 3 children, a mother-in-law, an adopted daughter. I needed to be more. Eyesight is what you see, but your mind sight is what you envision. The thing about life is this: to become that thing you've envisioned, it means you have to become someone you've never been, because you're envisioning something you've never been, you've never done. You've got to become someone you've never ever been. And that is the most difficult, the most torturous part of the journey. Because that is when you're going to have the chitter-chatter, the negative self-talk, telling you about your limitations as opposed to your potential. In fact, Martin Seligman puts it, your self-explanatory style, where you concentrate more on the limitations, because 77% of self-talk is negative. We have no control over the thoughts that come into our minds, but you know something? We have absolute control over the thoughts that you dwell on. Now, when you dwell on those thoughts, you begin to focus on those things and you begin to feel that way. So if you're dwelling on not having money or not being able to meet the next rent or the next mortgage or the next note on your car or the next repayment, if you begin to focus on that, you begin to feel that way, and that will determine what you do. But if you begin to focus on what you can do, who you can ask for help, the kind of work you can do, what skill sets you have inside of you, you will get up and you will do something. You see, if for any reason you don't believe in yourself, and it does happen, and you find somebody who does, perhaps your wife, your children, a friend, a neighbor, or a mentor, hold on to that person's belief at this critical time until your belief kicks in. You need to hold on to that person's belief, and yours will definitely kick in. You have to go through self-assessment, a self-appraisal. Because when you appraise yourself, that is the journey towards self-fulfillment. The famous Greek philosopher, Socrates, who died in 399 BC, said an unexamined life is not worth living. So it's important for you to sit down and have a 360-degree assessment of yourself. There are many questions that will come through your mind, and you've got to dwell on the positive ones. If you cannot do it alone, get a coach, get a mentor, get a friend who's going to help you through this difficult moment. Because many of us are not going back to what we used to do, because those things don't exist anymore. There are certain jobs that you will not be able to get back. For instance, if you worked in the hospitality industry, travel and tourism, when 99% of hotels are closed down now, wherever you are in the world, in Toronto, in the United Kingdom, in Nigeria, there are hardly any hotels open, except the ones that have expatriates who are already ensconced in there. What job is there for you when you get back? The industry is sliding downhill. But God doesn't make rubbish. There's something good in everyone. And that's the foundation upon which everything else is going to be built. In my case, I realized that people had always told me that I had a gift of the gab. I knew that I spoke well, but I never knew that it could be commercially attractive. I knew that I dressed well, but I never knew I could put a dollar sign in front of it. I knew that I had social polish, but believe you me, I never knew you could put dollar signs in front of these things. But when you sit with people who are going to remind you of your potential and not your limitations, you will grow. I'm going to ask you a few questions which I want you to ask yourselves. This is a very perilous time for us. Times are hard. Not everything that is hard is worth it. But everything that is worth it is very hard. Question number one. What are you good at? There's a distinction between what you're good at and what you like doing. Hey, there was a time I liked playing tennis. But I can tell you, if you ever put me on the tennis court with even any of my children, they'll whoop me out. But I liked it. I like playing the guitar. I'm an electric guitar buff. I can tell you about the different types of guitars, from the Fender Stratocaster to the Gibson Les Paul to the Fender Jazz bass or the Precision bass, you name it. I have a few chords, I can strum a few tunes. But am I good enough to play in a band? No. Would I then be fooling myself to say I'll go into music simply because I could strum a few chords? What is it that you're good at? One of the ways of knowing what you're good at is simple. When people call you, what do they ask you to do for them? In fact, a very simple exercise you could do is bring out your mobile phone, look at the last 10 callers, and find out why they have called you. Yes, some might be calling you to ask for money if you're a good bank. But really and truly, people would be calling you because they know you have a solution to a problem they have. The way the human mind works is this. It needs a target. The brain needs a target. Whatever you desire, think of it, and it will locate it. What is it that people ask you to do? What are you good at? I discovered in my case that people always ask me to help. Am I asking if they were properly dressed? Even people would call me sometimes and ask me, look, I've got to go to dinner. What should I wear? What kind of bow tie should I wear? What kind of jacket? What's the difference between a tuxedo? What's a lounge suit? What's a business suit? What's a sports jacket? And I realized I was just answering questions until one day a gentleman held me up on the phone for about 20 minutes and said, can I ask you a question? If I wanted to send money to you to say thank you, do you have a bank account? Of course, at that time, I didn't have one because I'd been made bankrupt. So I gave him my wife's number, my bank account. And he sent me a check. He said, look, you have saved me quite some money here, because I would have made a big mess of myself if I had turned up at that meeting dressed in a tuxedo at a breakfast meeting. Ooh, that's a faux pas. If you don't know form, you will do God, folks. So I began to realize that I had my strength in that area. People always ask me how to pronounce words. People always ask me how to what exactly do we say? Have a meaningful conversation. People wanted to know about social polish. But I realized at that time that I needed to add a $sign in front of it. So I went to develop myself in public speaking. I joined a speaker club. I developed myself. I developed myself to become an NLP master practitioner, to understand how people behave. I began to network and hobnob with poor middle class clients, how to soft on the to learn this thing. I realized that there was room for me to reinvent myself. What is it about you that you can do to reinvent yourself? Listen carefully. Is that what I like doing? The things I'm good at. So you know that. Second thing, who needs that thing or those things, or who needs you? I realized that there were a lot of young people in England who needed social polish. There were lots of young people in Europe who wanted to come and live and work in England who did not know what to do. There were lots of businessmen who wanted to come and live in England but do business in England. So I made myself available to become a personal coach. And guess what? They were paying for me to teach them all these things. I began to realize over time that sharing my story, expressing my vulnerability became a pathway to intimacy. So I didn't have to have any slides or anything. I could just tell you exactly what happened because I'm recalling exactly what happened from a distant mental shelf. And you know, with stories, 86% of communication is gossip. People want to hear stories. How do you do it? But you see, people are impressed when you tell them about how you bought your Jaguar, you bought your 5-bedroom house, how you went on a family holiday but I'll tell you. But when you share with them what it was like when you were at your lowest ebb, when things were almost impossible for you, they can identify with you. And then you have a community of sympathizers. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. The third question is, how can they find me? Today, you can use social media. You can use all forms of marketing communications platforms. Kayode Olusope is an expert in that. Tells you routes to the market, what kind of integrated marketing tools you can use. LB can give you the strategy. But I tell you, your best marketing tool is a satisfied client. Do it so well as if your life depended on it. As I always say, I have a skill. I'm going to flaunt it so much. It's like a millionaire who is intent on going broke. How can they find you? Make yourself commercially attractive. And more importantly, what sort of person must you be to live that which you have envisioned? I realized I needed to read more. I needed to change my circle of friends. I needed to join groups and associations, expand my association. I needed to read more, learn more, take more courses. I cannot count the amount of courses, seminars, conferences I have attended over the years, and I'm still doing courses till today, so that I can just understand the effectiveness of interactional human behavior. In this process, we are evolving. But for you to evolve into something more meaningful, your behavior has to change. And that is in the becoming. I hear people say things like, oh, we're all stuck at home for the last 6-7 weeks and all that. I was having a conversation with my son in England a few days ago, who told me that he made a phone call to one of the young men he was mentoring in prison. And when he called him, the guy, let's call the guy Rob. Rob said, Daniel, how are you doing? He said, fine. Rob, who is in prison, said he was feeling sorry for Daniel outside. Rob said, look, 23 hours out of 24 hours in a day, I'm indoors. I'm locked up in my cell. So I'm used to lockdown. But how are you going to cope with lockdown outside? What a paradigm shift. You can learn a lot from a Rob who does not know exactly what is going to happen next. No vaccine has been found, no cure has been found for this force that's holding the entire humanity captive. Some say 12 to 18 months, whatever it is. Whenever it's found, what would you become? And that for me is a very critical thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a few hitches here and there. I'm getting messages that the audio is not too clear, but I'm sure with my body language, you'll understand how passionate I am with this. How really, really passionate I am with this, and for us to realize, more importantly, that you need to have clarity of purpose, clarity of direction, and clarity of focus, which will give you more blessings of the wallet. Just in conclusion, remember that it is not the things that you do not have that will hold you back. It's those things that you have inside of you at the moment, but you probably do not know how to use. Look for somebody who is going to teach you and tell you more of your potential than your limitations. Seek a coach. Pay for a coach to help you release all the imprisoned splendor. Get a mentor who you see once in a while. Get a consultant, align your mind, rearrange your mental shelves, and realign your And as I have written on my wall, where the things that we wish for. Both whatever we do for ourselves, we're going to take to the grave. But whatever we do for others, we will leave behind. I thank you very much for your undivided attention and would like to hand you over to a gentleman I have a lot of respect and admiration for his writing skill and his penchant for getting things done. Kayode Olusope.
Thank you very much, RDJ. That was a bomb. Despite the few times when the network interrupted the delivery, I acknowledge there's a discussion in the chat room that this was an insightful delivery. Someone said, time well spent. Time well spent indeed, RDJ. Thank you very, very much. Today is loaded. More is coming your way. Stay tuned. Fasten your seat belts even more now because we are moving to another level. Okay? Don't forget, if you have questions for RDJ, please put it in the chat room. We will answer every one of them. Now, I'm excited to introduce to you someone who, first and foremost to me, is my mentor. And I actually call him my daddy. Even though his children may not know that their father has another son. Okay? Professor Lere Bale is a unique Nigerian who has been described as a result-oriented leader. He is the one who inspires world-class leaders everywhere to take action, even in the midst of chaos. Even before the COVID happened, Lere Bale has been preaching resilience for so long, and he has been training managers and leaders in the the science of resilience. He's a strong believer that opportunities are actually presented as impossibilities. He has a deep foundational philosophy that is guided by his personal principle that each creation has a unique fingerprint to live a divine purpose, passion, and praise. He is a professor of organizational transformation, a certified learning coach. He is fellow of Institute of Marketing. He is fellow of the Institute of Management. He is a facilitator at Command Staff College in Jaji. He is on the board of Nigeria Alumni Association of Agile Leadership International of America, as well as the charter president of BSN Toastmaster. He is an honored member of Ikoyi Club 1938, and he has a passion for golf. He is married to Ife, his childhood friend, and they are blessed with wonderful children. Ladies and gentlemen, let me not take your time any further, because if I were to introduce this man fully, we will spend the next 1 hour. So let me invite to speak to us further, Professor Lere Bale. You can clap, please. You can clap. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Kayode, for your generous introduction. RDJ has really dealt with the subject so beautifully. All I just need to do is to recollect that while we're having some problem, I showed this slide about values and belief system. He has told us that it is not the things that we do not have that's our problem. Our real problem are the things we already have that are positive values, positive belief system that we fail to actually utilize. And so these are the things that affect our attitude, motivation, knowledge, skill, behavioral skill, and so on and so forth. When you hear a CEO speak about the fact that I would like my people to be more productive, what he's saying is that I would like a culture of transformation that makes my people to become much more effective, much more efficient, and much more adaptable. is seeking for transformation of individual. Companies don't succeed, it's people that succeed in companies. And if people will need to succeed in company, their value system, their belief system, their mindset must be transformed in such a way that they believe in the vision of the company. They are connected with that vision. There's a synergy between where they are in their own vision and the vision of the organization. So they connect their own personal mission with that of the company. They connect their own personal values with that of the company. And what you see over a period of time is a fantastic synergy that ensures that they maintain a culture that is synergized. And then they start to transform the organization that we stay true to the values of the organization. One of the greatest speakers of our time, Deepak Chopra, who is a specialist in neuro-linguistic programming, he said, unless there's a personal transformation, there can be no social transformation. If there's no social transformation, there could be no business transformation or organizational transformation. For this reason, one of the greatest CEOs of the older generation, Lou Gerstner, who was the CEO for IBM and who transformed IBM from a small company to one of the biggest technology company in the world, hardware company in the world, and they are now into software and help lay the foundation for the IBM of today. He said, fixing the culture is the most critical, and it's the most difficult part of a corporate transformation. In the end, management doesn't change culture. Management actually invites the workforce itself to change the culture. So if you cannot manage yourself, how do you manage other people? If you cannot transform your own life, how can you transform the lives of other people? So culture is not an initiative, culture is the enabler of all the other strategic initiatives. So you have people who have very beautiful strategy, but they are unable to deliver on that strategy. Go and look at the culture. The culture is usually the major problem. So culture does not change because we desire to change it. Culture changes because the organization is transformed. The culture reflects the realities of the people working together synergistically on a daily basis. My colleague has spoken about the value of resilience. We need to show resilience in all our area of PEMS or SPEMS, in our spiritual health, physical health, emotional health, mental health, social health. Without resilience in these areas, our culture will only be practiced for just a moment, and that will be the end. So what creates a long-lasting culture is a long-lasting mindset that with the right attitude, the right mindset that helps, that is informed by the right beliefs and value system, and therefore helps in the behavior that connects with the needs of the company. And so we will start to really see good results. In a period of crisis, my first slide is about the fact that crisis and opportunity are mixed, that crisis brings its own challenge, but also brings along with it opportunity. And when you take your eyes off the opportunities, the only thing you see in the world will be the challenges. So don't be afraid of coronavirus. Go and don't look at only the negative aspect of coronavirus. There's also the positive aspect of coronavirus. Don't let a good crisis like coronavirus, COVID-19 go to waste. Let's see what can we learn from it. What are the things we need to change? One of my friends posted on a WhatsApp group today. He said, who was the #1 person that drove digital transformation? Was it the CEO, the Chief Technology Officer, or COVID-19? Of course, we all know it is COVID-19, not the Chief executive officer, nor the chief technology officer. So they didn't allow, I mean, COVID-19 was not allowed, it's a good crisis that is not going to go to waste. Today, I'm able to speak to you on Zoom, not because it did not exist before COVID-19, but it never occurred to many that we could have utilized it the way it's been utilized in the last 8 weeks. I've actually been on Zoom webinars, almost an average of 3 to 4 times every day in the last 8 weeks. I've not, something that I've not learned in the last 5 years combined, just in 8 weeks. So it makes a good sense to therefore see COVID-19 not as a problem, but also a problem that brings only, but as a problem that brings along with it some elements of opportunity. And let's look at these opportunities. Like one of the greatest, Brené Brown, she was speaking about, we will not go back to normal. This is the new normal. Normal never was. Our pre-corona existence was not normal, other than we normalized greed, we normalized inequality, we normalized exhaustion, depletion, extraction, disconnection, confusion, rage, hoarding, hate, and lack. Many of you listening to me today have had cause to either donate money to members of your extended family, send money to people you never knew in the last 8 weeks. Why? Corona caused it. You wouldn't have thought about this without Corona. Our normal, our former normal, it's not the normal way of living. People are now showing positive emotion. They are now engaging people they never knew. They are trying to help their neighbor to feed. They are donating money, food, items to people they've never met. So we should not long to return, my friends, to that old normal. We are being given the opportunity post-corona, COVID-19, to stitch a new garment, one that fits all of humanity and indeed nature. It is for this reason that I borrowed this slide. It's a slide that I read every single morning. The future of work is what? Is here and now. I've been sharing a number of different lectures on the future of work in the last 3 to 5 years, particularly because of digital revolution, we are now in the digital world, the fourth industrial revolution. But RDJ summed up everything. He says, if you are not updating your knowledge, if you are not upscaling your skills, you soon be an expert in an industry that doesn't exist anymore because the industry has already gone. Richard Dyer Johnson. I quote him again. He says, if the future of work is here and now, and if you are not updating your knowledge and upscaling your skills, you will soon be an expert in an industry that doesn't exist anymore. What this suggests to me is simple. For many of us who are highly skilled pre-COVID-19, some of the knowledge and skills we have are no longer relevant. And unless we improve on our knowledge, skills, attitude, and the kind of result we'll be producing, will be the result that will be very woeful. So we need to quickly upgrade. I know there are many of us, the first victim is learning and development budget is cut. This is the best time to actually invest significant amount of money into learning and development. For there's no better time that people need the right attitude, the right knowledge, the right skill to engage in VUCA environment. A VUCA environment is an environment that is filled with volatility, uncertainty, complex chaos, ambiguity, and risk. And the solution is that we must learn, must develop new attitude, new knowledge, new skills in order to attack volatility with vision, attack uncertainty with better understanding, knowledge and understanding, attack complex chaos with clarity, attack ambiguity with agility, and attack risk with resilience. And if we are going to really enjoy this, that is, we are attacking VUCA with VUCA. So the solution to VUCA is VUCA. We will not be able to move our staff from the past system. The past is gone. We are now in a new world. The period of 9 to 5 working time is gone. We can now work. I've been putting an average of about 16 hours every day in the last 8 weeks. They've worked beyond anybody's imagination. I don't think they've ever worked like that since we started the business almost 20 years ago. Working in the corporate office is now replaced with working anywhere. We use company equipment as now replaced by use any device. We need to know that focus on inputs is now focus on outputs. We have to now create our own ladder rather than depend on corporate ladder. We have to customize our work rather than predefined work. We have to share information rather than hoarding information. We have to learn that we can become a leader in whatever we are doing. RDJ just shared with you. He was already blessed with the right kind of, dressing, outing, phonetics, charisma, voice, but he never understood that those things are the things that could generate big money for him. We now have to rely on collaborative technology rather than rely on email alone. We need to focus on adaptive learning rather than focus on knowledge. We need to focus, and that's where action learning comes in. We need to focus on democratized learning and teaching rather than corporate learning and teaching. It's particularly important for us to make these changes. You've listened to RDJ. The question I would like to ask is, do you want to change your life? If yes, you must learn how to unlearn what we have learned before, prior to COVID, and start to relearn a new craft to win at this game. We've gone through a period of change. I recollect in 1986, when the SAP started. I was in an industry that was highly competitive. Most of the people who relied on the old model of strategy, they died a natural death. The company died a natural death. But those who saw beyond the problem of SAP, who saw beyond the problem of devaluation, they are still surviving today, and many work stronger. Why they work stronger has to do with the fact that their competitors died. And that is the prayer of anybody in a competitive environment, that the enemy should die in warfare or in battle. So you do not want to be a victim of COVID-19. You do not want a situation whereby if they are selecting people in the direction that needs to go, you don't want to be among the people who will be selected to leave. It's a time for us to know that we don't build a business, we build people. It's the people that build the business. You are the CEO of your own life. You have to stop making excuses and start to make executive decisions. Excuses is not a trademark for winners today. Take care of your thoughts, particularly when you are alone. Take care of your words when you are with people. People get things done. Who leads, who grow, who make impact, those people normally have goals. We want to encourage each and every one of you to set up a goal of transformation journey. Look at what you want to be in about 25 years' time or 24 years' time. That's based on foresight. Define it clearly and look at the things you need to achieve in 24 months. That is in the medium term. Then look at what you need to do to achieve in 24 weeks. That is the short term. Then what are the things you need to achieve in 24 hours? Those are the things that are very tactical, that should be the primary focus of what you need to do in the next 24 minutes, day by day. And as you set that system up of goal setting, you realize the fact that you will no longer need to wait for the storm to pass. You start to learn about how to dance, even when it's raining. You will realize the fact that you will break the circle. If you have ever been judged, you will learn now to transform yourself to become more understanding. If you have ever enjoyed and experienced rejection, you will choose acceptance. If you have ever been shamed, you will choose compassion for other people. You want to be the person you needed when you were hurting. not the person who hurt you. You want to be better. You want to be better than what broke you, to heal instead of becoming bitter. So you can act from your heart, not from your pain. Ladies and gentlemen, as I close today, I want to tell you that the value you place on your future will determine the sacrifices you make today. So please keep educating yourself, keep learning, look for courses, have a deep analysis, build framework, look for content, change the system, change the delivery. And courses, delivery, and training, and everything you do. Remember that every time you are in a culture that is negative, there's something that needs to be transformed. And most organizations, even when they have done well before, you look at them today, and I can tell you what you will see is a need for them to move from very negative culture to very positive culture. Our culture in organization needs to be more friendly and welcoming, more respectful and compassionate, much more attentive and helpful. We need to be more professional, more positive, and much more collaborative in the way we do things. So I want you to know that in my transformation journey, I've read a number of books, several books. I make it a point of duty to try to read a book in a week. I don't read 52 books in a year, but I try to read as much as 50 in a year. And a number of people have been very helpful to me in my transformation journey, and RDJ happens to be one of them. I want to thank every one of you for the effort you've made and for helping to be everything that we are today. Thank you so much. I now hand over to Kayode, who's going to handle the rest of the program in the next few minutes. Who is going to be with you in the next few minutes for us to take the question and answer session. Thank you. Kayode.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Lore Bale. That was great. We really appreciate you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have been listening to how to transform our lives. Okay, how DJ has spoken extensively about his bankruptcy, for him to rediscover his talents in public speaking, in grooming and coaching people, and how that has turned into a great blessing for him. Now, where are we? We are in period when the whole world is challenged by this COVID pandemic. How are you going to respond to it? One of the key points I also picked from RDJ's speech is the best marketing tool is a satisfied client. So you are in business and you still have one client, please hold on to them as if your life depends on it. Your life actually depends on it. We spoke about the need to have a change of behavior in order to have a more meaningful life. He spoke about the need for a positive attitude in order to transform the challenges that we currently face, all of us, into opportunities for you. Professor Lore Bale also helped us earlier to define transformation. And one key point to go on with is that transformation comes from within. Transformation is more than something that is external. It is more of something that is driven from the inside. So it differentiated between transformation and change. While change may be forced, transformation is never forced. Okay, it has to come from the inside. He talked about learning and unlearning. Each of us are experts in different fields, but we need to begin to learn new skills. And we need to relearn a new craft to win at the game. He spoke about responsibility, that you need to accept the fact that you are the CEO of your life. And therefore, you need to step up the game. You need to take decisions that will ultimately transform you and then make you the champion of transformation that we are talking about. I want to appreciate our speakers. They have given themselves to this task. They have spoken to us from the depth of their hearts. We believe that these nuggets of wisdom that you have shared with us will be applied by everyone listening, and will begin to record transformation, meaningful transformation in our different communities, our different organizations, and even in Nigeria as a whole. Thank you very much, sir. Now, at this point, we want to entertain your questions. Those of you that put your questions in the chat room, I will be calling out the questions, and then I will ask the speakers to answer. If you still have a question, you still have just a few seconds left to add to it, because we need to ensure that we close this very soon in about 10 or 12 minutes time. So quickly, someone has asked the question that, how do you identify your unique selling potentials from your natural hobby or passion? That is from Omolade Lawal. I don't know who would like to help us answer that question between LB and RDJ.
I would suggest you read all the questions. Let RDJ answer first. If there's anything that he didn't handle, I will handle. Just read out all the questions so that if everybody could take note of, and then RDJ will just make his general comments here.
That's fine. Okay.
In order to manage time better.
Ask this question. I would like to ask, if you are in an environment where you don't have a mentor, how do you navigate your way through whatever the circumstance may be at that time? So Kingsley wants to know what to do when you don't have a mentor. Is that clear, sir? Now, good. Now, Omolade Lawal wanted to know how you can identify your unique selling potentials. That's how she wrote it, from your natural hobby or passion. Okay. There are lots of comments about how good and wonderful the discussion has been. Somebody said it's time to refocus, reskilling and retooling in order to be relevant. I think we all agree on that. That's what we have been saying. Chioma says that, Professor Lere Bale, all you taught me today will be greatly remembered. God bless you.
Only questions. Let's take just questions.
Only questions, okay.
So that we find time to address the
apart
questions.
From those two, I do not see any other question. If there is anyone I left, please alert me by sending me a private message. But those are the two major questions: how to know your USP and what to do when you don't have a mentor in a particular environment. Over to you, our speakers.
Right. I'll take Omolade's question first. That is how to discover your unique selling skills. Let me rephrase that. I will say, how do you release your imprisoned splendor? Omolade, one of the ways to find out what irritates you. What irritates you might be a clue to what you're good at. I don't like it when people don't speak well. I don't like it when people don't dress well. I don't like it when people don't behave well. I realized that I needed to be a solution to that. That's one thing. The other thing is, what is it that people ask you to solve? What problem is it? Now, if you're unable to provide answers to yourself on these two things, then you need to seek a coach. The job of a coach is to ask you questions. Those questions will twist your left and your right brains so that you can come up with a lot of answers that you never thought before. Sometimes they may take you through a timeline into your childhood to find out exactly what those things were that you enjoyed, but through the challenges and vicissitudes of life, you have stopped doing. So I'm willing to give you a complimentary 30-minute session. If you can reach out to me within the next 24, I'll give it to you. If you can reach out to me within the next 3 hours, I'll be able to give you a complimentary session, and we'll arrange that. So if I don't hear from you by 10:30 tonight, I take it that it has expired. The other question from Kingsley: how do you find a mentor in the midst of despair? You can't find one. Look, let me say something to you. Mentoring is essentially a relational process between a more experienced and a less experienced person in a particular field of it or endeavor. The cook, the family cook in our home in Nigeria, sometimes mentors me on traditional vegetables, mentors me on my nutrition. He grew up on the farm, he knows all the vegetables, and he knows what they can do. So don't you ever think that mentor is somebody who is older than you. If you look around properly, eyes that look are common, but the ones that see are very rare. There's help when you least expect it. I think Charles Swindoll put it in a slightly different way. He said, we are constantly faced with God-ordained opportunities, which are brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. The answer is in there. Rearrange your mental shelves. Ask for help. Again, I offer you up until 10:30 this evening for a complimentary session within the next 48 hours to help you rearrange your mental shelves and realign your mind with your true north principles.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to speak on the two major things very briefly. I'd like you to know that your journey to transformation starts from understanding your passion. What you love, what you are good at. You've listened to the story of RDJ. He was already good in certain things, and he loved certain things. What you love or what you hate is an indication of what you love. What you are good at and what you love is an indication of your passion. Your profession is born out of what you are great at and what you are paid for. And we need to appreciate it, that your vocation is what the world needs and for which you are paid for. And your mission is what you love and the world needs it, the intersection. Now, the intersection of your passion, your mission, your profession, and vocation is your purpose. So when people talk about you link USP for an individual, it is particularly important for you to identify these 4 key areas. Inside it is where your USP is. That is what is going to give you your profession, your vocation, your mission, your passion. And once you are within this red circle, which is where your purpose is, your USP is, you are not likely to be stressed. You are likely to be able to show resilience because even in the means of opposition, you'll be able to still keep going. You'll be able to continue to keep moving. I want to encourage you that you do a number of things. Look at psychometric analysis, look at various analysis of your personality, look at the things you love, look at the things you are good at naturally, look at the things you hate, look at the things that hurt you. When you see certain things be happening around you that pains you, that's an indication of what you are called to solve. And that is one of the things within which you can easily make transformation. Because when you are pursuing the things for which you are called to do on earth, then your ability to scale through challenges, to scale the VUCA, to get to the destination of your purpose, of your calling, will be there. I want to encourage you to first of all study those things. That's your passion, your mission, your profession, and your vocation. The second question is about mentoring or about coaching. I want to encourage you with these words. RBTJ has said everything about the concept of coaching, and is willing to offer very good, he has given you a very good offer today. I would just like to say this to you about mentoring. If you know where you are going, your journey is short. If you know how to get there, your journey is shorter. If you have someone who has been there to teach you how to get there, your journey is shortest. If that person decides to take you there, it means you're already there. That's what mentoring is all about. Now, people always ask, I can't find a mentor. The truth is this. For many people who approaches other people for mentorship, most of the mentors they are allowed to mentor. Most of the people you are supposed to mentor, they show up first day. They call you the second day. You have a meeting, you have a schedule with them. 80% of those who walk up to you that they want you to mentor them, they will never follow up with you. So they don't really need the mentorship. They just need the mentorship for name dropping. They don't really need it to learn. They don't need it to be transformed. Those who really desire mentors will always find mentor. When you really ask, seek, and knock the doors of mentors, you will find one, and you find the most appropriate one. And it is possible to also enjoy reverse mentoring. I didn't know much about digital until 1985. It's somebody who is younger than me who actually mentored me on how to use computers in 1985. When I needed help on the modern social media system a few years ago, it's another person younger than me, so it's a reverse mentoring. So that could be reverse mentoring like RDJ mentioned. I want to encourage you to seek and look for mentor. Maybe look at what we have shared today as basis for you to really get a mentor. Take advantage of the calling advantage of the people you have met today. Maybe there'll be one or two things they can share with you and help you. It doesn't mean that you choose one mentor for life. No, as you grow, your mentors will also change, because at times you grow to a level whereby you overgrow your mentor. And so you start to be in a position that you are the one who's even mentoring your mentor as well. And so I want to encourage each and every one of you to just keep going. May I call on Mr. Kayode to please?
I think you please go ahead.
Question. If there's no question again, there is a candidate who would like to say a word. It's on the chat room. I want to remember the name. The name is Kangiwa Govwe. Can you unmute and just speak to us for about a minute? But we need to close exactly in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Kangiwa Govwe. If it's here.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Kangma Gofwen. Okay. I wanted to make a comment quickly on the mentoring question. Now, I know mentoring does not necessarily have to be physical.
That's correct.
The United States can mentor you back here in Nigeria. Now, you don't necessarily have to know the person, or the person needs to know you, but you can, if you know someone you look up to and you want to be like that person, well, you do is follow up on that person, read more about that person, and with time you get to see that you're becoming more like the person and you're learning about what that person is doing. And then again, if you have a mentor around.
We can't hear you again. So Kayode, on that note, let's thank my sister, Kanwa Govwe, for
With this
contribution.
Follow up BG on all the platforms he is on, and then from there you pick up, and if you want to build a relationship with time, you get to build that relationship. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We'd like to thank everybody for this great opportunity. May I call on the Benga to give a vote of thanks and to close.
Everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. We are all muted. So just speak on.
Yes. Yeah. On behalf of House Consulting, the company that have initiated this with other co-partners, Law Pavilion, as we have seen in the banner sent to us. I want to thank every one of you for coming despite your busy schedules to attend this occasion. And I want to implore you not to miss the remaining editions of it. This is actually the first edition. So other editions are coming, and as we have shared in the chat room. So please be on the watch out for the forthcoming editions. Thank you very much. I want to also thank the speakers for making time out, preparing day and night for this event. Thank you very much. We appreciate you all. See you at the next edition. Over to you, Mr. Kayode.
Hello, Kay.
Sorry, we have a little technical challenge here. So I would
Over
ask
to you, Mr. Kayode.
Prof to help us to close the meeting.
All right. On behalf of everybody, we'd like to thank all the attendees. And we want to thank you for the time you spent today with us. We look forward to meeting you in subsequent editions. There'll be more. The transformation series has no end. Transform Your Life series is multiple series. And this is just the first of several. We have intention to also look at transformation of HR, transformation of operations, transformation of culture, transformation of operations, transformation of digital information management, and several other things. In conjunction with our various partners, House Consulting Group, in marking the 25 years of operations, we'd like to say thank you to every one of you. We look forward to the very best and support from all the partners and continued support. If you are not yet a partner, you would like to drive a particular transformation culture among the various audience, please do not hesitate to reach out to whoever has already gotten in touch with you for this program. I want to thank every one of us, particularly our maiden speaker, RDJ, a highly sought after speaker who has created time today in spite of his busy schedule. We'd like to thank as well Olukayode Olushope, who has professionally handled the affairs from the beginning. Thanks so much. And to Benga, God bless you all. Bye-bye.
The Wi-Fi is still connected.